let's go quickly in our expectations for Eternal Weekend Europe, because you two guys are actually playing there. There are 3 topics that I've noted for us to discuss. The first thing is bannings or no bannings. The second thing is, what do you expect from meta? Same as North America, a shift in some direction, and 3 decks that will top 8. And one of them should be not Blue-Black Reanimator, Mystic Forge and Breakfast. One of them has to be a spicy pick. So, for the bannings.
Welcome to In Response, a Legacy podcast. Whether you're a dedicated player or just curious about Legacy, join us as we share ideas, discuss decks, and have some fun along the way.
Guys, actually, now there is something really, really big happening in America, and it actually happened already. Eternal Weekend North America already crowned its new champion, and it's actually the old champion, Mystic Forge, the hero of last year, won again this year as well.
Wait, what? Last year was also Mystic Forge?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that because I thought it was Tamiyo Reanimator.
No, actually not. Yeah, it was the Vexing Border match.
Yeah. Now I remember because that was the infamous Frog era. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Was the Grief already legal? But
no,
that was already banned. So yeah, and Mystic Forge last year was kind of the breakout deck, and it was suddenly everywhere. And yeah, I can remember European people gunning really, really hard for Mystic Forge at Eternal Weekend Prague. So
yeah, but it was hard because it had Vexing Bobber. And in Prague, the best strategy apparently was if you're a breakfast player, you just play breakfast, but only if your name is
Johan Larsson. Yeah,
I mean, the similarities actually stack up from last year to this year. Johan Larsson in the top 8. I mean,
actually first after Swiss.
He's like the best player that we currently have in Legacy.
He's insane.
Yeah,
with breakfast, I don't know about this. If he's as good with other decks, but with breakfast, it's insane.
Yeah, it's this combination that just fit perfectly together, and he's shown that in 3 really important events this year. I don't know if you have noticed, but last year, of course, he won Eternal Weekend Europe. Then he won this year's ELM. He's the ELM champion as well. And now he top 8'd again the European, the North American of North America. He will play in Europe as well. So in Prague. In Italy, sorry.
Well, sort of different.
But yeah, I mean, for Johan Larsson, if we would have something like a Magic Player of the Year, for example, running just for Legacy, I think the answer is clear for this iteration of a cycle. It would be Johan Larsson.
I would also nominate him.
Probably. So if you want to hear more about Johan Larsson, just subscribe to our Johan Larsson fanboy podcast right now.
And I mean, there is actually an episode with Johan Larsson that we will link below in the video or the podcast.
We had a really nice discussion with him after he's won of the Eternal Weekend last year. Yeah, and we had a chat with him.
Really, really nice guy. But
we are here to talk about Eternal Weekend.
Yeah, and I think we want to start off with like the big hitters. Usually the only deck list that will be remembered is the top 8, and we had 4 different decks in the top 8. Some guys say it's a little bit lacking. We only have meta decks in the top 8, but wait. There is basically a subscriber from like Brian Cowell or Phil Gallagher in there, because what the heck? I have smallpox actually noted.
Oh, what the fuck? What year is it?
Yeah, it's apparently 2025, and the new card, or a new card got actually printed. I don't remember the exact name, but it's a new land. It taps for a black, it will ping you.
Yeah.
It will move a counter onto the land, and when the land goes to the graveyard, you actually gain X 1/1 token creatures, and this one is exactly the thing that you want to have with smallpox and other loam strategies.
I think it's called Umedian Tragedy or something like that. Umedian something.
Yeah.
What's great about this card? Hatchery, yeah. Umedian Hatchery, true. And the great thing about this card is the tokens. But I also read today on the card, as I read through it, the tokens are actually having flying as well.
Okay, this makes it actually way better than before, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it's good against, it blocks Murktide all day if you want. It can attack very, very nicely. You can jump a lot of things. And of course, with a small box in addition, it's a really, really nice combination. And those are also black, which is important because the deck runs Hogak.
Ooh, so you can cast it from the grave.
Yeah. And it's so many small little synergies that you have. You have this Malevolent Rumble that fuels your graveyard, and you can recover one of I think a permanent. Yeah.
Then you get a Scion.
You get also a Scion,
or
exactly.
Spawn. I don't know if
I think
it's a Stan. Or is it? It's the new one.
It's a Spawn, yeah.
It's the one without attack.
And for example, cards like Bowmasters also very neatly cast Hogak if you want it in a pinch, basically. Yeah. It's a good combination and super nice deck.
But they're only playing 1, 2, or 4 Hogaks?
2.
2, okay. So,
but a key thing, as I said, with the hatchery is like it's a really nice thing. It is a good combination together with Smallpox, actually, because when you cast Smallpox and you sacrifice the land, you gain the creatures afterwards, so you don't have to sack them right away. But it's also a really, really skill-intensive card. Because sometimes you want to stack up damage onto yourself that you can provide additional counters on the card, even though you don't need the mana right away. And sometimes you really want to skip paying life with it. There you can use the how's it called? The black one that lets you tap everything for black mana.
Urbak. Tomb of Yawgmoth.
Exactly. So you don't have to pay life with it. So it's quite an interesting card, and I think the player at the top 8 has to have a lot of experiences with the cards, because it's something that can be quite nichey, and you need the skills exactly from this deck.
Yeah, they're for sure a deck specialist. And to be honest, I'm not that surprised that we see Smallpox on the top tables, because as I experienced, I haven't played now for 2 to 3 months at the moment. I'm really starting to get into Eternal Weekend preparation right now. But before the little break that I took, Smallpox seemed really, really strong in the current meta, because it deals with the pre-flipped Tamiyo so clearly. Yeah. It denies the resources, and it's good against combo. It's good against basically all the decks that are right now really, really strong.
Yeah, as I said, not only good versus combo because it's a black deck. It really hampers with your opponent's resources, but one key opponent is like the exact opposite of the fast combo decks that you really shine with your Thoughtseizes is the land destruction. The cloud push strategies that are currently running around. We have a few big mana decks. There, your wastelands, your recurring wastelands with life from the loam. It's like for this meta that we currently are experiencing, it's really, really nice.
Yes, indeed.
That's certainly one of the things that I didn't have on my bingo card for 2025, the return of Smallpox on the top tables.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough for the big box, but Smallpox got there anyway.
It's for sure the winner of the heart.
Yeah.
That's some player that plays a really off-meta deck, showing that in this legacy meta game that we have, and this year, 2025, we can still potentially top 8 with, I would assume, pet deck.
Yeah.
If you really invest a lot of resources. I think this is by itself a very strong message that is, I think, very needed today, because we reckon there's very much the other opinions right now, also when it comes to overall legacy. I think this is a really nice positive showing in this particular high stakes tournament.
Yeah, and for you guys, you have to keep in there a little bit longer, because the spicy parts talking about the current state of Legacy and what this tournament meant for Legacy will come at the late stages of this episode. But I think we've talked about Johan Larsson, another breakfast in the top 8. I don't think we need to go in much more deeply. We know him, we know his deck lists.
Yeah, he plays the standard version of, or let's say, I would say the best version of breakfast at the moment. Also has a playset of Tamiyo. Yeah. It's just needed. It has showing, I think it had a small little history of going from 0 Tamiyos a couple of months ago up to 1 or 2, and then now up to 4, and then it's firmly at 4. It's pretty clear the best version.
Pretty sure if you're playing blue, you have to run 4 Tamiyos. I've talked about this with friend of the cast, Tobias. He asked me how many Tamiyos, or should he even play Tamiyos in Doomsday? And I was like, I don't know anything about Doomsday, but it just feels wrong to not run 4.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked with him also about this topic, and there is like 2 sides of a coin in this conversation with Doomsday. That doesn't really apply to Nada.
No, I not. Yeah,
because like Doomsday on the one hand is like 0 creatures, and it gives your opponent action with your remove spells. But I think we will talk about
it's just
those divisions in another episode. So let's move to the 2 big guns in the top 8. Both at 3 decks apiece. We had Mystic Forge and Blue-Black Reanimator. And let's start with basically the run-up deck, HJ Gothic. One of the most recognized and achievable persons that we have in Legacy or in Eternal Magic the Gathering, with 2 Eternal Weekend wins. He, I think, has lost his 3rd or 4th final now. So he went to a few finals in the later years, and he was on Blue-Black Reanimator.
Yeah, I think he also kicked out Johan in the
Yeah, he lost in the semifinals.
Yes, in the semifinals, and phenomenal player for sure. He played, I would assume, that the meta deck of choice right now, Blue-Black Reanimator. And I'm not surprised that I see, of course, that player with the deck in the top 6. And you said he got to the finals.
Yeah, he lost in the finals against
Mystic Forge.
Tom Hockey on Mystic Forge. Or Tom Basketball.
Tom Hockey. Great name to be honest. And a great deck. It's certainly not my cup of tea. But I can see the appeal. Yeah, Mystic Forge.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, you don't have so many. I mean, you have decisions, but not so many.
Yeah, you don't have Spire or something. No, but really.
You don't have blue, you don't have cantrips.
I see this, yeah.
And by super strong deck.
I mean, Mystic Forge is a kind of unique deck. It tries to attack it, I would say, it smashes through the front door. But when you get something through, you kind of have to decide a little bit, especially with the whole untap effect. Because like in some situations, you are both limited in cards and mana. And there it's kind of difficult to navigate through, do I have to draw cards with the One Ring now? Do I have to use my untap effects to gain additional mana to maybe cast the few cards that I can get? So it's kind of hard to play the deck in some spots. I mean, it's a non-blue deck. You mulligan and you go with it. But yeah, especially with Tesseract, you now have 2 effects. So you basically gain some stability in the deck. And yeah, it's nice to see that both of those 3 decks from Mystic Forge that we got had some slight variations. We've got one of them with an Ugin in there and only 3 Tesseract. We also got one only with 7 Planeswalkers. We got another one with the full 4 Tesseracts. So there is still innovation in the deck, and I'm really looking forward to how it will look in the next month.
Yeah, I would say that we have some flex slots, right? So a couple of places that a couple of slots that are not fixed in the deck, but overall, like, core is pretty set, and it's super hard to really hate out.
Yeah, that's so totally true. We talked in the pre-show about that, and normally the cure for this kind of artifact decks or the hate that you want to bring in is Nullrod. Nullrod is one of the best hate cards against it, but it doesn't shut off Planeswalkers, it doesn't shut off Karn, it doesn't shut off Tesseract, it doesn't shut off Ugin. So
or the Flash Raker.
And also not Flash Raker. So this deck has still a lot of agency still through Nullrod, and it's so hard to hate out. Even the tech Void Mirror that people bringing in is often not enough.
Yeah,
but I think Void Mirror is probably the best hate card that you can bring against if you against Mystic Forge, or if you want to target specifically that deck.
Yeah, there's some options, and it's neither of the options really shut the deck completely down. This is just not possible, and this is part of the reason why the deck is so strong. It's also the same reason why Reanimator is so strong. If you just pack in graveyard hate, it's not enough. The same when for this Mystic Forge. I think when the bubble was gone, it got this kind of engine to protect itself being removed, and now it just has another plan with Tesseract a little bit. Another engine card. It's not a protection card, but adds another powerful tool to the deck that is hard to hate and kind of is diverting from the main plan, which is artifacts and activation of artifacts. That pushes the deck again further into the top levels of the meta game, and it's hard to beat.
Yeah, together with Tesseract, you have so many tools here that you have to answer on the spot. Because Tesseract can replace itself, and you have to kind of answer the Wandering before it hits the table, or when it hits that you don't get the card advantage of Mystic Forge card advantage engine on its own. Mystic Forge is actually the namesake card, but do you know how many copies are in the deck?
It's just a current target usually, or you have like one in the main deck or two.
Two in the main deck.
For sure, one in the side, but as a wish target for Karn. Same with the paradoxical outcome, I think.
Ancient.
Engine, sorry, not PO. Not Vinted. True, yes, the engine. And among, of course, the other package that you bring with the karma, yes, of course, is Mystic Forge is not. There are versions without it. You don't necessarily. I mean, it helps to really kind of combo off.
Yeah.
There's like situations where you have so much mana, so many keys to untap all your artifacts that you just need to use the mana, and usually it is Mystic Forge.
Yeah, or the Wandering, because with all the untap effects you draw so many cards, you are way less reliant on getting rid of lands off top of your deck, which can actually happen with with Mystic Forge, that you have like 2 lands on top, because like one you can exile, but the second one will kind of stop you in the combo.
Yeah. Of course. So what you're saying is we need a different name now for Mystic Forge?
No. I think it's clear. It's.
I mean, we could go back to roots and call it Tesseract, but
we can call it Mud.
Or really old school, Mud.
But I mean, most of the guys and girls that played in the last few years know the deck, how it usually performs. And it's basically stayed the same, even though the names, the cards got removed. Because when we say, I'm playing against Blue Black Delver, we all know that we played against Blue Black Tempo, even though there was no Delver in sight.
Yes.
But so we covered kind of the top 8 decks. As we said, 3 times Blue Black Reanimator, 3 times Mystic Forge, 1 Breakfast, and 1 Smallpox. So let's go to the meta, and there I just quickly say the top performing decks is like 15% Reanimator, kind of expected. Was the deck to beat in the eyes of pretty much everyone. Then we had 10% Mystic Forge, which is kind of a lot, I want to say, but I think there aren't too many reserved cards that can be an restriction, and I think it's a deck that you can learn without playing too much, I want to say, against other people, because when you try to go over the combo and find within your opening 7 the weak spots, you can prepare yourself a lot at home without having too much interaction, but this is a bold take of mine. And then we come to the next big deck that was in the eyes the challenger for a Blue-Black Reanimator, and this is Blue-Black Tempo. And as you have seen, nobody in top 8, I think nobody in top 16, I think nobody in top 32, nobody in top 64, am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best version was like an Esper Tempo, actually. I think it was top 16.
Okay.
But the best Tamiyo Tempo was like 70th place. 7-0. Yeah.
Wow.
And even though it is heavily anticipated, and I looked at the numbers, it was one of the worst performance decks of the whole tournament. Close to 44% win rate. And what I mostly was surprised was that Tempo had a bad matchup against Reanimator.
40%.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, of course, it is one tournament and those numbers might not reflect the reality, but I would assume that a lot of players coming to the tournament would respect Reanimator for sure. You would play the main deck spell bombs. You have your cohesive game plan, your good top decks, your individual card strength, and Reanimator usually, apparently in this tournament, outperformed that. And I'm surprised by that a little bit, because from paper, when you look at it, Tamiyo Tempo should look favored.
Yeah.
For example,
It always seemed like it's the pre-boarded version of Blue-Black Reanimator in the mirror.
in the mirror, kind of, yes.
Yeah. And yeah, it's kind of, surprising that Blue-Black Tempo is not performing up to the standard we put the deck to.
I mean, I have maybe another layer of thoughts to this, because on paper it looks better, the deck, but maybe what I'm thinking is, of course, if you are a well-trained Reanimator player, you can make use of cards that are bad on paper in some situations if you have a good story behind it, and you lead your opponent into thinking, okay, these are critical cards that I need to deal with. Prime example is Entomb, right? If you don't have Reanimate, it on paper does nothing. But if you suggest to your opponent that Entomb in a certain spot is an important piece right now that I want to resolve, if you can trade it with a Force of Will, it's very, very strong for the Reanimator player.
Yeah, it's always about the story, the threat. And if you remember, like a year ago, we also talked a lot about Blue-Black Reanimator and Blue-Black Tempo, how those decks are different. And we always said, like, it seems like that in Blue-Black Reanimator, the ceiling is just much, much higher than in Blue-Black Tempo. But the floor on the Blue-Black Tempo side is higher than the one on Blue-Black Reanimator.
On paper.
On paper. But
that's
it seemed like
100%
the floor of both decks got to a pretty similar state, especially since the plan A and B of Blue-Black Reanimator are so cohesive currently that it seems like on average Blue-Black Reanimator is just a better deck.
Although, shouldn't forget, Reanimate is just as a naked card sometimes a good value card. You can recurse your own creatures, your opposing creatures. I think stuff like this should not be underestimated.
Yeah.
And also the way your opponent plays when the combo is threatened anytime. It's also another layer of, just threat that maybe doesn't come into effect, but just is existing virtually. And the Reanimator player can execute a different game plan, but your opponent might try to find a solution for game plan A.
Yeah, you always have to respect the tracks in the graveyard of your opponent, even if they don't have anything.
Yeah.
So
you gotta find a solution. If they top deck Reanimate now, what happens?
yeah, just find it in a brainstorm. That things happen all the time.
Yeah, it's just a really hard state that your opponent then has to play. And yeah, seems like Reanimator players are getting used to this state and try to get into the head of your opponent. You have to bluff in the spots. Magic is not a game of complete information as we have in chess. You can't smuggle an additional queen onto the table. I mean, I do it all the time, but yeah. But yeah, in Magic, as we have in poker, we don't have complete information. You have to bluff your opponent in spots. And as you said, the story has to line up.
Yeah, exactly.
And if the story lines up, your opponent will fall for it.
Yeah, and of course you have to establish what your opponent is, likely to react or not to react to. I mean, it all depends on the exact opponent for sure, but you have to use these kind of opportunities to squeeze more win percentages out of your deck.
Yeah, definitely.
And therefore, I kind of also see why Reanimator is better against Tempo, to bring it back to this discussion we had at the beginning. And yeah, Tempo, I think, struggles against a lot of this. I'm not sure if it can reliably beat Mystic Forge, or I don't know, anything that is somehow unfair, a little bit bigger. Chessgate control seems bad. Maru decks seem bad. I mean, yes, it's always on thin margins, I would say.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised overall.
It's still a blue deck. It still executes some form of a tempo strategy. So overall, those decks usually reign in the range of the mid 40% to the 52, 53. But currently we are, I think, at 45 or something like that over the weekend. It's still a blue deck. You have game against pretty much everything, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't come through life. But another deck, as we already had in the top 8, is Nado, both breakfast and mid-range are performing decently well currently. I think at 52% win percentage for both those iterations.
Nado's combo a little bit better, I would say. For what I saw, I think closer to 57, 58 something.
57?
Or maybe a little bit over 55.
Okay.
But I think, because I think Cephalid Breakfast is only good, as we established, only really good if your name is Johan Larsson.
And are playing for Tamiyo explosively.
Of course. And Nado combo, the Band combo version, is a little bit more universal. Yeah. I think it's a little bit straightforward. You don't have, it looks a little bit more less fragile, but sometimes loses a little bit of a fair plan, I would say. Sometimes, draws not the cards that you need and has a lot of air. Sometimes, with the mana dogs and Yeah, Breakfast is a little bit more nuanced as an extra game plan. Not Nado, but also the other combo can be a little bit faster, but also a little bit more fragile. Yeah, it's down to experience in that case. I think it's more to experience on the Breakfast than it is for Band Nado.
For both of those decks, as we had with Breakfast, not with Breakfast, but with Reanimator and Tempo, it's the floor seeing discussion a little bit. I mean,
same.
Nado, Breakfast and midrange go in a little bit of different directions. Both of the decks, as you said, the Breakfast much more streamlined. You are playing basically with a trigger enabler in the form of the core or with Shuko, and together with either the Illusionist or the Nado to basically win the game on the spot. And Nado midrange sometimes goes for value. I don't think that you play anymore the fastest to immediately win. You just establish your field. I win the game on the next turn or on the next 2 turns, and you don't do anything until this point. So would you say one of those has higher ceiling or just meta depending? Or if you are Johan Larsson?
Yeah, I would say breakfast is the highest ceiling, but yeah, it's a lot of skill that you and experience, I think. Breakfast is, I think, one of the decks that has the most fragile mana base. So it's the biggest reason why the deck fails usually.
Kevin, dual lands, and Urzusage, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you have 3 colors. And
that might be a little bit too much. Yeah,
that's too much. And for that reason, I also like the approach that Johan always has is to minimize the amount of green cards. He wants to play blue and white exclusively, actually, and just have the green splash because you need it for Nadu. Makes sense, but it's anyways a 3-drop, or it comes usually not on turn 3, but more like 4, 5, 6 in that range.
Yeah.
And the second one is just Memory's Journey. You need that for protection. That's clear. And no other green cards in the deck or green mana needed.
So, yeah, really, really nice to see how the deck adopted over the last, I think, 1 year that we got the switch over from the honorable 61st card of Upsal spells to Breakfast to be a mainstay in the deck. And yeah, so Oops got like a tiny fraction in the top 8 of this tournament. Another card or another deck that we kind of want to shout out here in the meta percentages is Blue Red Kata. It's the fairest, or one of the fairest decks that I think we currently have in the format. It doesn't really attack on pretty much big unfair angles besides cheating on mana with Forceful Fill and Dazes. And we actually got a list with, I think, Delver of Secrets in the deck, finishing just outside of top 8. We got Roland Chang, unfortunately losing his both Winninins in round 14 and 15 after a 11-0-2 start. Really, really insane from him. He tried to make redemption, get himself a 3rd crown in Eternal Legacy, or Eternal Magic in this case. And yeah, Blue Rekata, a deck that still a lot of people want to play.
Yeah. I would say it's okay. I'm not so high personally on it. Because I always think that, Izakata is, you have to really have this mindset of tempo. This is really pure tempo. Yeah. And it doesn't really have a grinded plan. You just want to get, you have this reach to finish your opponent as fast as possible. And it sometimes, or often right now, it is very an uphill battle. And I see why Roland, for example, chose Delver as another, faster proactive threat that just goes upstairs really quickly. But, I would not be comfortable to play any fairish game against Barrowworth deck. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, there's solutions. Well, people try Unholy Heat in the main deck, of course. And there's this new blue enchantment.
The cryo.
Exactly.
Something.
Yes, -0, -5. Oh, -5, -0.
And if it gets tapped,
it gets destroyed.
It gets destroyed, or if it takes damage, it gets destroyed.
Yeah.
But we had this discussion on Friday when we had our weekly event. And in my opinion, I don't really get it. Why is this card now so heavily played into Rekata when there's already witness protection from Streets of New Capenna?
I have no idea what witness protection makes it a 1/1 without the ability.
One white citizen without abilities.
Doesn't trade with your unboosted monk tokens, for example. It's, I mean, both of those are pretty much the same card. I like that it may get destroyed effect. You can't block something to get in some damage.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I don't really. That's maybe how do I say this? A philosophy thing, because I don't like that it gets destroyed and can be reanimated again. From
if you get reanimated.
Yeah, but it still happens if the 1/1 jumps.
Yeah, but they can't make it themselves. So with the cryo, they can attack and it gets sacrificed.
Okay, and then they can
And
reanimate.
they can reanimate it. So, and with the 1/1 citizen,
I assume both are actually 1 mana, right?
both are 1 mana,
Yeah.
both are auras, and we had a little bit of a back and forth last Friday, and it was just an interesting find for me because Blue-Red Cutter was always struggling with Barrowgrave, and then there's suddenly the hope in this new set, the cryo thingy.
Yeah.
And yeah, witness protection was always there. So
I don't know. I guess like on average, at least, I think they're very similar.
very similar.
I guess the advantage that the new card has is that on an empty state, you don't take this 1 chip damage every time,
Yeah, that's true.
which might add up. It's something that you might not want, and it's really a removal is new card. Usually, unless the Goef is a 6/7 or something.
Yeah.
I guess possible, but likely it's more like 4/5, 5/6, something like this. And then it's just a 0 body that cannot deal damage. It's not a threat anymore. When 1/1 UK, it's okay. But I also assume that at some point it will just trade, and then, I mean, it's also gone somehow. But yeah, pretty close, I would say.
Yeah. Maybe we get an expert on
But
this.
probably just one more little thing. If you witness protection attracts it, it's a 1/1. It will be a 1/1 without abilities. But you can't. If you put this cryo thingy on the track, so it's still a 2/7.
Yeah, exactly. But
I think those are the spots that you kind of wanna bounce if it was
Probably.
Brace Aura. But yeah, I mean, if it's still a 2/7 with lifelink, I mean, does it have first strike?
Yeah, a flying lifelink vigilance death touch.
I mean, then it's kind of okay because you just attack with the token, and if the block, it gets killed. Same happens with a 1/1. But yeah, I think it's very, very niche, and I don't think it changes too much.
track. So this is
Yeah, it's
I don't know if it's main deck. That's
no, it's happened.
it's just okay. Yeah.
But the one big thing that I kind of wanna say about Blue-Red Cutter, because in the pre-show we talked a lot about, I think the best card in Blue-Red Delver or Blue-Red Cutter is Price of Progress.
Yeah, I agree.
There was not a single Price of Progress in the deck list from Roland Chang. So apparently, yeah, it is needed. You have that much tempo in Blue-Red.
It's not needed against all decks. That's maybe the point. I would not be comfortable without it probably, but I'm also not a super good red based tempo player. So
But yeah, let's keep it to the experts, and then we just go over the best performing decks. Basically, I mean, no brainer. Forge, high numbers, good performance. Blue-Black Reanimator, high number, good performance.
Yeah.
Nado, I would say medium numbers, but good performance for both breakfast and mid-range. And then we have the best performing deck of Eternal Weekend North America.
And what was that?
It is Mono Blue Cloudburst.
On a blue cloud.
But
How many people were playing this?
I think 13.
Okay, that's actually quite okay.
I would count top 8 conversion as well into that. And that it's not the best performing. But
Simply on win rate, it's on paper.
I count that, yes.
The best.
Yeah,
It's a new deck. But it still got some players to play it, and they performed decently well.
Yeah, it doesn't really. I think it's not affected by the main hate cards at the moment, and it's a little bit of an underdog. It is still very powerful. That is for sure the case, and it is a blue-based deck. You have forces and stuff like this, so I can see it's why. Yeah, it's falls a little bit under the radar, but as I said, it's not a big part of the meta game. No, but I could see this deck being, in the place of Smallpox, for example, in top 8 something.
I mean, it was 12th place. It basically lost the winning in to I mean, I don't know if he lost like a few rounds earlier, but with 12th place and the break, it seemed like he lost the win in for top 8. And yeah, the deck is up there. The best pilots are higher than the blue-black tempo players.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think we've went over how Eternal Weekend of America went, and let's go quickly in our expectations for Eternal Weekend Europe, because you two guys are actually playing there, and there are 3 topics that I've noted for us to discuss. The first thing is bannings or no bannings. The second thing is, what do you expect from meta? Same as North America, a shift in some direction, and 3 decks that will top 8. And one of them should be not Blue-Black Reanimator, Mystic Forge, and Breakfast. One of them has to be a spicy pick. So for the bannings,
I'm pretty sure that Daniel and myself are having the same arguments right now, or the same things to say. So yeah.
But let's start with Daniel.
Go ahead, yeah.
And I will hear from Philipp if it's exactly the same.
Okay, yeah. Bad bannings?
Bannings.
So yeah, that will be 2 weeks before.
In exactly from this point for 4 weeks.
Yeah, 10th of November. So roughly 2 weeks before Eternal Weekend. I think it's a little bit suspicious that they rearranged the banning dates now backwards, because previously it was just 3 days before the event, which is very close. And they gave the excuse that they might need to look at standard, but I have no idea why they need to look at 2 weeks earlier at standard when there is this big legacy event coming up. So I think there's a little bit of a hint. Okay, they will also look at this, and I could see actually 2 ways, but I think the likeliest one is just one. I could see that they actually ban Entomb.
Yeah.
If they deviate from the previous strategy, because it does not fit into the plan that they have set, but it is, I would say, unlikely. But then I think then in a couple of months, because the next best thing is Tamiyo, and I think this is also the thing that will happen. But then there will be a replacement for Tamiyo at some point, and we will be in the same picture. So I tend to now, after the 4th banning now, if it happens for Reanimator, that either we continue the train and always ban something from Reanimator, or we actually deal with the deck really itself, and I think is Entomb the card. So I could see both, but now given the trend, Tamiyo is for sure somehow unifying the meta a little bit. Yes, if you're playing blue, I think you should play 4 Tamiyos, it's clear. And therefore, I also expect that Tamiyo will go. It's in Breakfast, one of the best decks, Tamiyo Tempo, Reanimator. But I think then we would need to look also a little bit on Mystic Forge. That's the 2 decks that I would. So I would start just with Tamiyo, but then I think I would actually really try to find a way how to beat Mystic Forge, or actually have to play it myself in European Eternal Weekend.
So your expectation is we ban Tamiyo, and maybe Entomb.
Instead of Tamiyo, yes.
Okay.
Not both.
Okay.
I don't think that makes sense too much.
Philipp, your short.
I would just hope that everything happens like Daniel says. But yeah, it's not 100% exactly. But I don't think they will do anything. To be honest, I would love to see Tamiyo gone. I can live right now with an Entomb ban. I couldn't before because I I still don't think that Entomb has to die for the Sins of Fire design. But if it has to for the sake of the health of the format, I'm fine with it. It's okay. I would love to see Tamiyo gone, because Tamiyo, like you said, it's unifying all blue decks. It's unifying the meta. It's in Izzet Kata. It's in Tempo, in Reanimator. It's basically in Naru Breakfast. It's basically everywhere. And it's wrong to not play the full playset Tamiyo if you're blue. Mystic Forge ebbs and flows a little bit. It's always there when the stakes are really high, like in Eternal Weekend. Suddenly Mystic Forge is everywhere. At the Austrian Legacy Masters, suddenly Mystic Forge is here to stay, and then it creeps back under the carpet and is nowhere to be seen, because maybe it's not great to play on Modo, and it's just a better play experience in paper. It would also be great to see something of that gone. But I think Wizards will just look at the data, will decide, well, it's fine, and leave us with the mess to pick up after us. So I'm a little bit more pessimistic here.
So you are basically saying no changes.
No changes.
Then I will shortly jump into my prediction, which is we get 2 bannings. Maybe they go in for a third, but I think they go for the third because of like community outrage. They will ban the One Ring, and they will ban Tamiyo, because like if you ban one of those cards and they I think have to ban Tamiyo, you have to take the One Ring out of all the other decks. And the next thing is Entomb, because they want to keep the community happy here. To have Blue-Black Reanimator off the top of the format, because it's 3 years, it's enough. A lot of people are frustrated with it, and you are a company, you make a product that you want to have the people in there happy.
Yeah, they want for sure that the community is okay.
Yeah, and even if there are like 5-10 community creators that are out there and saying like, you only want to ban the strongest offenders and fun isn't the metric that you want to measure your game with. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. Hell yeah.
You're not wrong.
So this is my prediction. Just quickly for the meta. Just for each of you, in which direction it goes. Will it heavily deviate from the one that we have in America? Will there be some shifts? Will there be some innovation that we may see here?
It will for sure depend, of course, on the announcement. That's clear. If we don't see any changes, then I think it's pretty similar. Then I think it's can be kind of one-to-one copy from North America. I think we will have a similar result. Maybe, of course, a little bit different numbers of decks, but Mystic Forge Reanimator will perform great. Nado Specialists will perform great. And, of course, maybe Tamiyo Tempo will perform a little bit better there. Might depend on the day, but pretty much the same, I would say. Mm-hmm. If we see Tamiyo banned, then I'm actually really curious how to beat Mystic Forge.
Then we are in the wild west.
I could imagine that Mystic Forge then just is clearly the best deck. But this is just an assumption. Without Tamiyo, Kata is also better. It's just because it's good against Mystic Forge primarily, so it's not fully clear. And if you also ban something from Mystic Forge and Tamiyo, as for example you said, then I would be scared of all the Nado decks actually. That would be the next best thing in my opinion. And it depends what happens, kind of. There's no clear answer, I think.
Yeah, the best answer that we want to hear as scientists, it depends.
Depends. Yeah.
So, Philipp,
Yeah, I think the European meta will or was historically always a little bit more control heavy.
Not jokes on you, control doesn't exist in Legacy.
I mean, you're wrong here. You're wrong here because there's Jeskai Wizards, which is basically a really, really great and the only control deck right now that is playable.
2% of the meta.
Yeah, and from North American meta, I'm pretty sure that it will get a little bit higher in Europe because Italians love Jeskai colors. They will play Thunder Trap Trainers, and also we have a lot of great control players in Europe, like Niklas Holtman, who already played Jeskai Wizards to a great success. So I can see the European meta skewing more on the control side. Also, I can see with the resurgence of Mystic Forge in North America, that people are gunning heavily in Europe for Mystic Forge. I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot of it, but people will get discouraged from playing Mystic Forge at Eternal Weekend Europe and will probably bring more Reanimator, more control, maybe even go into unknown territory of lands or what, I don't know. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that the Mystic Forge meta will drop a little bit, about 2% or something, in comparison to the to the North American meta.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think like blue-black tempo, I think a lot of people are discouraged, and this should lead to a higher number of entrances for blue-black reanimator in this spot. And I think that we will have the Mystic Forge meta from 10% definitely drop down to 6 or 7 because of the expectance of a lot of more null roads in the sideboards, much more answers. So typically when the sideboard slots go up like 1 or 2 slots, the deck is performing a lot worse actually over the course of a whole tournament. So I think small changes here and there. I don't know where they will move, but as you both said, it depends on the
Yeah, I talked about no changes right now. So, and also we talked in the pre-show a little bit about it. And you said Tamiyo Reanimator doesn't play any null rods in the sideboard.
Yeah, usually no.
Yeah, and probably
sometimes yes, but
if we see there a little bit of more null rods in the sideboard of Tamiyo Reanimator, maybe 1 is enough. Yeah, then that can bring Mystic Forge down, probably.
Yeah, it really depends. I think Tamiyo Reanimate is actually a little bit favored into Mystic Forge, if I remember correctly, but a lot of other decks are just far behind. I think it's like 20 or middle 20% from blue-black tempo versus Mystic Forge, and there has to be some changes because you can't be like so low in your win percentage against like the second most present deck if you want to top 8.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think we come to the end with 2 spicy predictions here.
Mm-hmm.
The top 8. I want to see or hear you guys with 3 decks that you want to, or that you expect, not you want, that you expect in the top 8. I will start with you, Philipp, here.
3 decks.
3 decks.
Okay.
Yeah, Cephalic Breakfast.
Cephalic Breakfast?
Run by Johan Larsson.
Okay.
Then I think we see a Demir Tempo in the top 8, although it wasn't really great right now.
Okay.
And from a spicy pick, it will be Jeskai Wizards.
Okay. I would have actually had blue-black tempo as a spicy pick already counted, but
yeah. So 2 spicy picks for me.
So we have an Italian on Jeskai Wizards, Claudio Bonanni.
I'm pretty sure.
Kai.
I'm pretty sure Claudio is solely playing pre-1 right now.
Okay.
And I don't think Jeskai Wizards is Angelo's jam. I don't know. So I don't have any idea who could play this, but I'm pretty sure one of this will be the top 8.
Okay. Good prediction. Yeah, I would play it fair. Let's say safe a little bit.
Don't copy the homework.
Reanimator.
Okay.
Blue-black Reanimator. Yeah, well, of course, I assume now no changes, kind of.
Yeah.
And but I have to say, Reanimator, Mystic Forge for sure. Breakfast, I'm not super sure. Maybe. But I will predict actually one kata deck. Why not?
One kata deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue-black, Mystic Forge, also Reanimator, Mystic Forge and kata.
And now Peter with the real spice here.
We will have
Surprise us.
experimental synthesizer painted in top 8 because I will be there. No, this would be actually quite a surprise. No, I mean, it, as you both said, it really depends on how the changes go. But I kind of expect that we have one of the deck specialists in there from our lower decks, and maybe we have Marcus Evelund on blue Cloud Post. if he goes there,
fan favorite.
it's my fan favorite. The deck is performing currently in the meta really good, and he is basically one of the inventors of the deck. He tunes a lot with it. He plays with the deck, and I think he knows the ins and outs. So, as you said with Johan Larsson on Breakfast, my deck is blue Cloud Post, and from the meta decks we will have blue-black Reanimator is basically locked in. If we don't see any changes in the format, I don't think that we will have Mystic Forge in the top 8. There will be too much hate running around in the format. We don't have any land-based strategies. Those are basically out of favor currently. But yeah, maybe we have some I give it to Esper Tempo.
Nice pick. Eh?
Nice pick. My runner-up for the 4th deck in the top 8 would have been Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday. Yeah, Doomsday with
Currently an underdog. You mean like Luca Fasoli style?
Yeah.
yes, Luca Fasoli. Then we also have Pro Tour Magic Gathering player, the German one.
Wow. That's a hard question right now.
Or the one with a German name, but is actually not from Germany.
Yes. Can't remember right now what.
But it will be exactly here. he top it basically.
Mark Tobias.
Yes. But he's not German, am I right?
I don't know. That's too much of a question right now.
I think yes.
I think yes. Okay. Yeah. Max Tobias is always
a great Doomsday player. So that Doomsday would be my, like I said, run-up for the 4th deck.
Yeah. For me, it would be Nado, clearly. I haven't said it at the beginning, but I think Nado.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you for talking. And yeah, let's see how every prediction pays out. I think we will be here before Eternal Weekend starts. So afterwards we can watch a vlog.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And just one question, because I'm a little bit out of the loop right now. Eternal Weekend Japan or Asia?
This is afterwards. Is in the middle of December.
So that's the last Eternal Weekend that we have. Okay.
All right. So we will have a lot of data to look at, a lot of bannings or no bannings to discuss. We will read the article for every single word, and you will hear it on this channel.
Heavy prepping for Eternal Weekend.